In a tit-for-tat move, the Indian Foreign Ministry today summoned Nural Islam, Deputy High Commissioner of Bangladesh, to India to discuss the escalating tensions between New Delhi and Dhaka. This comes after the Bangladeshi Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned the Indian High Commissioner Pranay Verma following allegations that India was attempting to construct fences at 5 specific locations along the over 4,100-kilometer Indo-Bangladesh border. Listen in first to what the Indian Army Chief General Dwivedi had to say on this entire issue. We come back and talk more about its ramifications.
Bangladesh is strategically important to us. We are the neighbors. We have to live together, understand each other, and any kind of animosity is not in each other's interest. As of today, firstly, there is no vulnerability from any side. I am in touch with the Chief of Bangladesh during the time of when this changeover took place. I was in constant touch with him, and even thereafter, in November 24, we had a video conference also. As far as the military cooperation is concerned, is again going up in the same way.
All right, let's get in Mohammad Ghazali to talk to us and really explain what this entire face-off is all about. Yesterday, our High Commissioner was summoned by Bangladesh. Today, we have summoned the Deputy High Commissioner because who is this highest ranking official here in India from Bangladesh's side. He has been summoned. Talk to us about what really this row is all about. How is it escalated to become a diplomatic issue between the two countries?
See, Gaurie, in the last few weeks, there have reports which have emerged from Bengal, from other districts, from other states in India, which share border, the land border with Bangladesh, and there have been reports that how infiltration attempts have been made from the Bangladeshi infiltrators, and Indian border security forces have tried to thwart that, to stop it. And that is when there have been reports of skirmishes from the Bangladeshi people, between Bangladeshi people and the BSF forces, and that is what the Bangladeshi government has been objecting to. What they say is that India is trying to erect fences or 5 checkpoints at 5 different locations across the land border, and that is what Bangladesh believes is against the land agreement between the two countries, and that is why yesterday Pranay Verma, the Indian High Commissioner in Dhaka, was summoned. He was also conveyed by the Bangladeshi Foreign Secretary that India should not be escalating the situation near the border because one Bangladeshi citizen have been reportedly killed in a crossfire between BSF and the infiltrators. So whether the person who was killed in that shootout was a Bangladeshi citizen is confirmed, but whether he was an infiltrator or not, there has been no confirmation or a word from the Bangladeshi side about it. And that is why, as you rightly pointed out, in a bid to de-escalate the situation, that is why the Indian Foreign Ministry today invited or sort of summoned the Bangladeshi Deputy High Commissioner, Mr. Nural Islam, to convey that India is not in any ways trying to escalate the situation. Rather, India is in favor of sort of toning down whatever the tensions been going around between the two countries. That is why Foreign Secretary Mr. Vikram Misri visited Bangladesh last year there and met Mr. Yunus, spoke about the atrocities against the minorities. And both sides have acknowledged the fact that despite these ongoing stress between the two countries, ongoing tension over the issue of atrocities against the minorities or the ISKCON priest Mr. Chinmoy Das, the usual business, the usual diplomatic activities between both the countries should continue. And this exercise of summoning the Indian High Commissioner there in Dhaka, or India summoning the Deputy High Commissioner of Bangladesh in New Delhi today, is part of that larger exercise which doesn't show that the relations between the two countries are very strained, because the trade is going on between the two countries as usual, and both India and Bangladesh have hinted it, we can confirm so, that the relations will be moving towards a positive side. They want to continue with the healthy relations, but meanwhile India has also stressed the fact that they also want Bangladesh to address these key issues which impacts India as well.
Exactly. All right, Mohammad Ghazali, appreciate you taking out the time to tell us more on that issue. Let's now get in Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, on this issue. But before that, let's quickly tell our viewers the key questions that we are putting forth in this fencing face-off, as we call it, with regard to India-Bangladesh ties. The first key question that we are asking today on the show is that will fencing row escalate into a full-blown diplomatic crisis? The reason why I ask this is because the relationship between the two countries is at a very delicate moment, and one single issue could become a major crisis. Is that fencing face-off likely to be reaching that? That's a question I'm going to pose to the panelists. The second key question is, will border agencies DG level talks try and ease tensions? Remember, there is the BSF and there is the border Bangladesh border force. Will the two of them, the DG level talks, try and address some of these tensions and ensure that calm prevails and the situation doesn't escalate further? That's the second key question. The third important question that I'll be putting to the panelists is, what's really behind the objection? What's really the whole issue all about? What is the 1970 accord, the 1974 accord that Bangladesh has been citing again and again, by which it says you cannot go about citing, why you cannot go about fencing the border? Why is it that the BSF says that we are well within our rights to do so? What's this whole issue really all about? Let's get in Ambassador Sajjanhar as well as Major Karim to be really decoding these two things for us. Gentlemen, thanks much for taking out the time, joining me on India Global. Ambassador Sajjanhar, let me start with you, sir. The relationship between India and Bangladesh is at a delicate moment, and the fencing issue is clearly becoming a crisis right now for both sides. There is a lack of goodwill, there's a lack of trust. How do you see this particular issue now being resolved between the two sides?
I think the issue has to be resolved through dialogue, through talks, and it has to be resolved through maturity. I think what Bangladesh needs to realize is that, much of the border between India and Bangladesh, it is about more than 4,400 kilometers. Much of that has already been fenced, and there are certain portions that have not been fenced so far. So it is not as if this fencing is taking place all of a sudden. There has been an agreement between the two sides. In any case, the fencing is taking place on the Indian side. So I don't think that there is any cause for Bangladesh to, to raise this issue. The second aspect is that I think Bangladesh needs to realize India has been following its approach in a very calibrated manner. It doesn't want to provoke the issue. It doesn't want to escalate the matter. And that is why your, correspondent Gaurie also said that, our foreign secretary had gone there, met Dr. Mohammed Yunus and made it very clear that India wants positive, friendly, warm, cooperative, collaborative, cordial relations with Bangladesh. And India is not doing anything of to provoke Bangladesh in any
Absolutely.
manner. For Bangladesh to summon the Indian High Commissioner and make this
very
out
strong
in public,
step. It's a very strong step.
I think it's a very strong step. It is playing to the domestic audience. I think that is what the matter is.
Hold your thought there, sir. Hold your thought. Let me ask that to Major Reza Karim. That is this about posturing to the domestic constituency, essentially? Given the mood that Bangladesh is in right now, is this what the government is doing?
Thank you. Actually, from India perspective, you might be right. I will not say you are wrong. But from Bangladesh perspective, if you think, the one, actually, sir, the one he was telling that the realization from Bangladesh end, at the side by side, yes, I do agree. Bangladesh should realize something, some matters. Again, India should also realize some matters. And about about the agreement, yes, there are some agreement between Bangladesh and Indian government, but that is during the previous regime. Now, let me give you a little bit background. Basically, I will not blame India for their any role right now, because so long the way our previous government, especially Awami regime, had been ignoring everything just to appease Indian, the then current or the current government. Thereby, the expectation for India from Bangladesh supposed to be very high. That might be right or wrong, might
Major
be
Karim,
good or bad for Bangladesh. But accordingly, why India should deny if they get something better from them? So the previous government, they had been giving everything.
Major
but
Karim,
they have not been.
I am giving you all time, and I'm going to give you all time. But I'm asking you one question.
Yes.
That you are saying it's Awami government, previous government, but
Yes.
agreements are signed between sovereign governments, right? Whoever's government
Yes.
it would be. What
Yes,
does
but
it,
that
let me
government-
ask my
the
question, sir.
current government-
Let me ask
current
my question,
government-
sir.
current government,
I am
we
asking
don't-
you a question, sir, which
But
is
we
that
don't-
when
we
sovereign
don't
governments,
approve that.
sir, let me ask the question.
Yes.
Sovereign governments sign pacts so that irrespective of whichever government comes to power, the agreement has to pass the test of time, right? That's how all agreements, all pacts
You need to know-
around
you
the
know
world
that-
are signed
you need
by
to know-
all governments. If we go back
Please
on
note my
that,
point.
then
Please
the
note my point.
premise of having any sovereign government sign any agreement gets lost. That is my
You are
question
putting
to you.
questions, but you are not taking my answer.
No, I'm asking. Now my question
No,
is finished.
then
I give
need
you
to
all
take
the
my
time,
answer.
sir.
You need to take my answer.
Yeah.
So why this revolution took place? The 5th August revolution, why it took place? You need to get answer. Because the previous government, they were illegal. They were not rightly elected government. They were not accepted by the Bangladeshi common population. And thereby they had been ousted from the power. And now, why we are seeking for certain changes, border area and also domestic area. In all the way, we are bringing certain changes. Why? Because whatever was
You have
done by
spoken,
the
sir?
previous government, most of them were not the common interest
Okay.
for the Bangladesh,
Okay.
Bangladeshi people or the national interest for the
I'll
Bangladesh.
say one thing, sir. I gave you time. I gave
Yes.
you enough time to respond. Let me now get an
Yes.
Ambassador Sajjanhar on this, which is that I'm not going to go back into the fact that, what was Awami League all about, because, it's very easy to say, and for an unelected government to talk about the previous elected government about its goods and bads.
No, this is
Right.
not. No, you cannot say this is unelected. This is not
This is an
unelected
elected
because
government.
there
As I
was no
said, that's not
election.
the topic of discussion today. Mohammed Yunus is an unelected leader, sir. This is not the topic of discussion
the
today.
unelected word is not justified here because
Okay.
there was
as
no
I
election.
Said, as I said, that's not the topic of discussion. Ambassador
That is a
Sajjanhar
demanding
respond
government.
to the fact that every time a new government comes, the previous government's pacts are then, considered
no.
null and void. Then how do we go about ensuring that
This
diplomatic
government cannot be
ties?
compared with the previous
Sir, now
government.
you are speaking over me. I gave you enough time. Let's now give Ambassador Sajjanhar some time. He has been very patiently listening. I am asking him about how to resolve a situation like this, where previous pacts are all considered null and void because, well, a revolution has happened, new sets of people have come to power.
Gaurie, international relations never work that way. International relations, as you very rightly pointed out, are signed between sovereign governments, plenipotentiary governments, and of course, whatever agreements are signed, they are valid for the forthcoming governments also. I think you also made another very, powerful, strong point, and that is that the former government was elected democratically. Now, is the gentleman is Major Rahim? Is he challenging all the elections that have taken place, the last 3 elections? In fact, the present government, you said very rightly, it's not elected. It is a caretaker government. It is an interim government for which there is no provision in the Bangladesh constitution. So it is an extra constitutional dispensation. It is not even a government of that nature. So I think for them to say the mandate, basically what had been given to Dr. Mohammed Yunus was to come maintain peace, security, stability, as far stabilize the economy and hold elections, so
Right.
that a duly elected government can take action on whatever might be
Okay.
the challenges.
Ambassador Sajjanhar.
The second point, the last point,
Yes.
Gaurie, if
I
you
have a
permit
question
just
to
one
Ambassador.
sentence, that India's neighborhood first policy is a non-reciprocal policy where we are more generous to our neighbors.
Exactly.
It is not,
Exactly.
These actions
Exactly.
are not in our favor.
Exactly. Okay, I'm running out of time, but in the spirit of fairness, Major Karim, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. In the spirit of fairness, you can make your point quickly, sir.
Yeah, actually, the one ambassador was saying that for any national interest, there is no provision, there is no as such written word in constitution that for the national security, national interest, you need to have an elected government. The current government, the interim government, they are very much they have very much relevance. very much constitutional right
Major Karim,
to
this was not
speak
even
for
the
national
topic, sir.
interest, to
The
go for
topic was
any
about
legal action.
fencing. You are going on and on and on about defending Mr. Yunus and
No,
whether
I'm
he is
not
elected or
defending.
unelected.
I'm telling the fact.
We were talking
You are
about
putting something
fencing.
on my
Not
mouth
one word have
and
you said
you
about
speak out
fencing
as
so
per
far.
your desire.
Not one word have you said that this was about that 1.2 kilometer area over which there's been so much of a hue and cry. Not one word have you said about why you think Bangladesh border is
that was our area that was given by Sheikh
You're going
Hasina.
on and on
That
and
was
on
not your
justifying
area.
Mohammed Yunus.
That was
He
given
says
by
elections, but he never gives
We
a
have
time frame.
taken
As
our
I said,
land back.
I gave you more than what I thought time. I've been very fair to you.
no.
In fact, it's
You
Ambassador
want me to
Sajjanhar who wanted to
speak
make
for him.
points and I haven't given him time. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on India Global.